Hello everyone, welcome to our channel of Nagesh Karasgi Orchid School. My name is Kajal Kulkarni and I am going to teach grade 5 SST. In our last episode we had seen that Gandhiji, when he returns back to India in 1915, during that time the World War I was still going on. And so Gandhiji, when he returned back, he traveled to many places in India, different places in India, and he was very shocked to see the difference between the untouchables and means the rich grade caste and low caste. So he wanted that it should means there should be unity among the people in India. So he started, he implemented few plans on it, and he was successful on that. People started joining him and he was in the path of success. Then we had seen about the Rowlatt Act. Now what was the Rowlatt Act? The Britishers, after the World War I, whatever loss whatever loss had been caused to the Britishers wanted to recover that loss from the Indians, and so they started with the new taxes on the people of India. The fresh taxes were put. Then the Rowlatt Act was stating that the Britishers were having the full authority to arrest any of the people anytime without any notice. If the people were if the British thought that a person should be they should be beaten, the British were doing that under the Rowlatt Act. So now Gandhiji told the people of India that nobody will support this act, all will be opposing this act. So the people of India supported Gandhiji for that, and they started with the Swadeshi movement. Now, not the Swadeshi movement, they had a lot of meetings, demonstrations. Many demonstrations and meetings were held on this, how to overcome with this act, the Rowlatt Act. So many meetings were conducted in different parts of the nation. So one meeting was held in Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar, wherein, as I had told you all, that Jallianwala Bagh had only one entry door and only one exit, means the same door was for entry and exit. So the people were, 10,000 people were who had attended the meeting, out of which men, women as well as children were present in that meeting. And this General Dyer, he commanded on, he just gave the charge to the soldiers that open fire. So the firing was done for 10 minutes on the people, and many people were killed and injured in this Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Then we had seen about non-cooperation movement. In this non-cooperation movement, after this Jallianwala Bagh massacre, many people, anytime the British were shooting the people, hitting the people, so Gandhiji launched the non-cooperation movement. Nobody will cooperate the British in any of the case. So many people working in British offices, British courts, they all started resigning, boycotting, and even the children were removed from the British government schools. And they set and blocked the streets just for the non-cooperation movement. So the Britishers started hitting the people who were blocking the roads. So one incident happened in Chauri Chaura, Uttar Pradesh, that the people of that place got violent, very, very violent, and they burned the police station wherein 22 policemen were killed. So Gandhiji had to call this movement off. Why? Because the violent method was used for the movement, and Gandhiji thought that using the violent method for any movement was the failure of that movement. So he called it off back, and Gandhiji was arrested for that. Then many young reformers, many young struggle for leaders joined the freedom struggle, and among them was Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose and Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad. So we had stopped here. Now we will move on to the next part of the chapter, that is the civil disobedient movement. So let's start with the civil disobedient movement. In 1930, Gandhiji launched a massive civil disobedience movement. He called on Indians to refuse to pay taxes, especially the tax on salt, to the British government. The salt law passed by the British forbade Indians from making salt. Gandhiji decided to start the civil disobedience movement by breaking this unjust law. He organized a peaceful march from the Sabarmati Ashram. I will just show you the image and explain this part, students. Gandhiji leading the Dandi March. It was called as the Dandi March. Now, I had explained this point in the previous chapter also, students, that in India, the Indians were making salt, means we were having a lot of production of salt. So we were making salt by our own. But the salt law was passed by the British, and the Britishers forced the Indians to buy the salt which was made, means they took over the factories, the Indian factories, and they started making the salt, and they started implementing or taking taxes on the salt. So Gandhiji was against this. So what happened in 1930? Gandhiji launched a massive civil disobedience movement. He called on Indians to refuse the pay tax. He told Indians not to pay tax, especially the tax which was paid on salt. The salt was very cheap, but the Britishers imposed taxes on it, and the salt became costly, and the Indians were forced to buy the salt which was made by the Britishers, and the Indians were forced not to make any salt. If the Indians were found making the salt, they were beating them or arresting and putting them into the jail. So Gandhiji told the Indians not to pay any tax to these Britishers, especially the tax which was paid on the salt. So the salt law was passed by the British, forbade Indians from making salt, stopped Indians from making salt. So Gandhiji decided to start the civil disobedient movement by breaking this unjust law. To break this law, Gandhiji started the movement, that was civil disobedient movement, to break this unjust law on the Indians. So he organized a peaceful march. Peaceful means without any means no arms, no ammunition, just shut your mouth and just keep on walking. Means you can say no protest, nothing, just silently, peacefully, just keep on walking. So he started his march from the Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi on the seashore. From Sabarmati Ashram in Ahmedabad to Dandi on the seashore. A large number of people took part in this march known as the Dandi March. Many people supported Gandhiji in this march, and they all went, means all were present in this march, and this march was called as Dandi March. Gandhiji led the civil disobedient movement. Why? To stop and told the people not to pay any tax to these Britishers, okay, to this British, not to pay any taxes. So in that one was the salt law. Okay, so Gandhiji started a march, a peaceful march from Sabarmati ashram, from Sabarmati in Ahmedabad to Dandi on the seashore, and many people went, supported this Dandi march. At Dandi, Gandhiji and his followers made salt by evaporating sea water. Gandhiji was arrested, but the civil disobedience movement spread throughout India. Now, many people were with Gandhiji in this march. Then at Dandi, Gandhiji, he took the sea water and the water was evaporated and salt was made. The sea water was evaporated and salt was made, and for this Gandhiji was again arrested for breaking this law, salt law. And after arresting also, the civil disobedience movement did not stop. It spreaded all throughout India. You can see this picture here where Gandhiji is picking up the handful of salt to break the salt law. Okay, so he told the Indians that not to pay any tax, and he broke this salt law at Dandi. Next was the demand for Purna Swaraj and the Simon Commission. The British wanted to make some changes in the way India was governed. The British wanted to make some changes in the way India was governed. Now they were governing India, they were ruling India. So they wanted to change something in their rules. They wanted to change the way it was ruled. Okay, so in 1928, a committee under Sir Simon called Simon Commission began working on this. In the year in our own country, they came in our country and they wanted to change the working of our nation. They wanted to change how to rule, how to demand them, means how to rule over the nation or Indians. So they wanted to change few things. So what they did, in 1928, they made a committee under Sir Simon. This is the name of a general, Sir Simon, who was called as Sir Simon, and that commission was called as Simon Commission, which began working on this. There was no Indian in the commission. This angered the Indians. They decided to boycott the commission. They staged demonstrations and shouted the slogan, "Simon, go back." The Congress now decided to demand Purna Swaraj or complete independence for India. Now what happened? Now these Britishers, as they were always thinking that how we can rule more effectively on these Indians. So they thought under the Sir Simon, under a committee called under him, Sir Simon, they thought that we will make some laws, we will start working with this commission, and that commission was called as, because Sir Simon was the leader, this commission was called as Simon Commission. And in this commission there was no Indian, means whatever they decided to do, it was all hidden with them, it was only with them. No Indians were involved in this commission. So the Indians got very angry and they decided to boycott this commission. Why the Indians are not allowed? So they decided to boycott the commission, and many demonstrations were held. And also demonstration means you can see those charts, as we make charts, right, as we make chart and many slogans are written on it, we hold the banners, so they are called as demonstrations. So many demonstrations and were made, and the people shouted, the slogan was passed, that was Simon go back, means Simon go back, we don't want this person, Sir Simon, we don't want this commission, as the Indians were not allowed in this commission. The Congress now decided to demand Purna Swaraj or complete independence for India. So now the the Congress, the Indian National Congress, they decided to demand Purna Swaraj. Purna Swaraj means our own nation, and we don't want your rule, and they started fighting for independence, means complete independence for India. World War II and the Quit India movement. The British arrested tens of thousands of people but could not crush the movement. Now, British arrested thousands of people, tens of thousands means thousands of people the British arrested, but the Britishers could not crush the movement, they could not destroy the movement, they could not stop the people from doing all this movements, following the movement, following Gandhiji. They were unable to do all that. Finally, they were forced to introduce reforms. In 1935, they passed the Government of India Act. Now, finally, these Britishers, they were really forced to introduce the reforms, changes. They were forced to introduce few changes, and so in the year 1935, these Britishers passed the Government of India Act. Government of India Act means they made election, they started election, and the elections were held throughout the country. Elections, they started with the election, and people were freed to elect the ruling member of the nation, and in that the Congress won in most provinces and formed governments. So when the elections were made, in many parts of India, Congress had won the election and the government of Congress was formed. But power still remained in the hands of the British, even though the Britishers now they were knowing that even after killing so many Indians, even after putting them in jail, even after taking so many actions, we are unable to crush the people, means unable to crush the movements. The people are still continuing. So finally they decided, they were forced to take some changes, to make some changes. So in the year 1935, they passed the Government of India Act, wherein the elections were held, and in those elections, in many parts of India, Congress won the election and the government was made, the Congress government was made. But still, even though the Congress government was made, but still the powers remained in the hands of the British. The British didn't stop ruling. The powers were in their hands. World War II broke out in 1939. The British declared war on India's behalf without talking to the Indian leaders. Now World War II broke out in the year 1939. When did the World War II break out? In the year 1939, World War II broke out, and what did this British do? They declared the war on behalf of India without informing the Indian leaders. Means Congress government was elected. Without informing the Congress government, the Britishers on behalf of India declared the World War II. Okay, so they declared the World War II on behalf of India without talking to the Indian leaders. In protest means the Indian Congress, they were against, to go against the Britishers. So what did they do? In protest, the Congress ministries in the provinces resigned. What did the Congress leaders, what did they do? They resigned from their duties, from their provinces. And the Congress declared that India would not join the war until the British granted complete independence. Now what did the Congress demand? It was the Congress ministry who had to take care of all the working of the country, but these British, they declared the war on behalf of India. So what did this Congress ministry do? They just resigned from their provinces, from their sections. They gave resignation, and they demanded that until and unless India gets complete independence, we will not join the war. What did the government Congress ministry say? That until and unless we get the complete independence, we will not join the war. They held talks with the British, but the talks failed, and the Congress under the leadership of Gandhiji launched the Quit India movement in August 1942. Gandhiji and other leaders were arrested. There were violent protests all over the country. Now what happened? When they resigned and they demanded for the complete independence, they had many talks. Many talks means the discussion was going on. But the discussion which was taking place, it all failed. So the Congress under the leadership of Gandhiji, means Gandhiji was the leader. So what they did, they launched the Quit India movement in August 1942. Gandhiji and the other leaders were arrested for launching this Quit India movement, and due to this there was a lot of violent protest all over the country. Because Gandhiji was arrested, there was a lot of protest, violent protest all over the country. Next, Subhash Chandra Bose and the Indian National Army. Subhash Chandra Bose had been elected President of the Indian National Congress twice. Subhash Chandra Bose was elected as the President of the Indian National Congress twice. He was lovingly called as Netaji. He was convinced that the British would never leave India peacefully. Subhash Chandra Bose was knowing it that these British will never leave India peacefully, means they won't go silently, peacefully they won't go. They really want fight with India, so that after the fights only they will leave India and go. So he went to Japan, from where he organized an army of 40,000 Indian soldiers. He called it the Azad Hind Fauj or the Indian National Army. Subhash Chandra Bose was the one who formed the Indian Army. He went to Japan and from there he organized an army of 40,000 Indian soldiers. And he named this army as the Azad Hind Fauj. Azad means freedom. Hind means India. A free Indian army. Okay, so it was Indian National Army. The Indian National Army fought against the British on the northeast borders of India. Northeast means where we have Gujarat, Rajasthan. Okay, so that part there, not Gujarat, that is northwest. Northeast means Bengal and all that side. Bhutan. The Indian National Army fought against the British on the northeast borders of India. Initially, they pushed back the British, but finally the British defeated the Indian National Army. They pushed Britishers back, but the Britishers defeated the Indian National Army. They were really very strong. They were having very advanced arms and ammunitions. Then last, India becomes free. By the time World War II ended in 1945, the British realized that they could no longer keep the Indians in their control. The Quit India movement and the Indian National Army had shaken them. They agreed to move out of India and started discussions with the Congress and the Muslim League. The divide and rule policy of the British had been successful in dividing the Hindus and Muslims. The Muslim League, under the leadership of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, demanded a separate nation for the Muslims. Gandhiji was against the division of India. India got its independence on 15th August 1947 but was divided into two nations, India and Pakistan. Gandhiji was heartbroken. His dream of a united India had been shattered. Now India becomes free. By the time the World War II ended in 1945, the British realized, they came to know that they could no longer keep the Indians in their control. They came to know that we cannot keep these Indians under our control. And the Quit India movement and the Indian National Army had really shaken them. Means the Britishers also understood that if we will just keep on pulling these things, we will really be defeated by these Indians. So they agreed, at last they agreed to move out of India and started discussions with the Congress and the Muslim leagues. They started discussion with the Congress and the Muslim leagues. Now what did this British do? They were successful in the divide and rule policy. They were successful in this divide and rule policy. And what did they do? Before leaving India, they were successful in dividing the Hindus and Muslims. What happened next? Because of these Britishers, they divided the Indians and the Muslims. So Muhammad Ali Jinnah demanded a separate nation for the Muslims. What did he say? Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he demanded that I want a separate nation for Muslims. And Gandhiji was not happy with this. He was really heartbroken. He didn't want this to happen. But India got its independence on 15th August 1947. But India was separated in two parts. One was India and the other one was Pakistan. And the dream of a united nation, Gandhiji had a dream that all the people should be united. It may be of any caste or creed. But his dream was all shattered. It was all broken. Okay. So here we have finished. We have done with this chapter. If we still go on, many things are there to talk about our freedom. It's not just a half an hour session, but a very long time to discuss about the freedom and the people who have given their lives for the freedom and what we are enjoying now. Okay, so here we have done with this chapter. I will just do one exercise, students. Okay, we will just do the match the pair. You read the chapter so that it will be easy for you. Simon Commission in the year 1928. Jallianwala Bagh Massacre, 13th April 1919. Rowlatt Acts, 1919. Civil Disobedience Movement in the year 1930. Government of India Act 1935. Quit India Movement 1942. World War II ends in 1945. India gets independence in the year 1947 and Purna Swaraj in the year 1929. So students, please read the chapter, go through every movement, every points carefully, underline the words, and any doubts we will solve it in a doubt solving session. Till then, thank you.